Welcome back, my friends, and happy holidays from the Suited Kings boys. Today we have a beautifully constructed. I'm just talking out of my ass now, Wes. What are we doing today?
Beautifully constructed. I was gonna say, like, what have we ever said? Have we ever thought that?
Only when we're
I don't
talking
know.
about ranges.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Today we're gonna talk a little bit about delayed seabetting, and we'll probably get into how Vegas wrapped up for me, how
Yeah.
things have been going.
Yeah,
But
we had a week off last week, kind of preparing for the holidays and all that good stuff. You know, things get a little hectic as the end of the year approaches with Christmas, New Year's, etc. And then also, it seems like everybody's been sick over the past couple of weeks, including myself. Thankfully, it wasn't nothing serious, just a mild, mild little bug. But first off, I actually do want to start this episode by giving a huge congratulations to a couple of Minnesota Crushers.
yeah,
Our boy Yuri and our boy Aaron. Yuri got sixth in the WPT Prime for 250,000. Incredible run. And then also Aaron Johnson, who has been a well-respected pro from Minnesota for well over a decade now, shipped the whole damn thing for just over 1 million. I think they did um, a modified payout. So I think when they got heads up, it seems like they maybe just took some money off first and added it to second. So not like a chop, but kind of like a
yeah.
way to.
Maybe what they did was they ICM chopped because at that point I think Aaron was at quite a chip deficit. So maybe they did a partial ICM chop and only played
Yeah,
for,
possible. I don't
you know, less, whatever that amount
I
was.
don't know the details, but that got me thinking. And it's like, I really think there's a lot of value to be had in modifying the payout structure if the casino or whoever is running the tournament will allow such things, especially when you get to like two or three handed. And I mean, if you have good, negotiating skills to be able to bring some more money down into those lower places from up top, even especially if you're like one of the shorter stacks to be able to do something like that.
Man, could you imagine if I had learned how to do that? All these third places I get,
Yeah, you'd have actually like
I could
had
have
another.
another 100K to
Yeah,
my
I know,
name.
right? It's just something I thought about, and it doesn't. One thing that kind of modifying the payouts does is it doesn't necessarily remove the integrity of winning the tournament. You see what I'm saying?
Correct.
So something to consider there, but yeah, maybe something we can discuss in the future. I know we've kind of wanted to do. Have we done an episode on chopping?
I think we worked it into one. We talked about stuff like chopping, late reg, and maybe
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyways, maybe something we
Honestly,
can.
can you guys tell us? Dude, I will admit when I looked back at our episodes, I realized we had a study sessions, cash games, and then we had a study sessions, cash game fundamentals. And I'm like, are these I didn't listen to them, but I'm like, and they're maybe a year apart. I'm like, am I saying the same shit about cash games? Like
No, I'm pretty sure the content was different actually.
it definitely could have been, but point being is we've made a lot of episodes, and honestly, we're gonna rely on you guys to tell us this stuff
I haven't
if we
heard
made
anybody tell us that we've been, um, repeating ourselves essentially. But anyways,
yeah, but in terms of the chop content, like, if there are if we haven't made an episode like that, we should at least talk about it at some point, and then yeah, content and I mean, most of you guys know, but in our Discord, you can always suggest content for us,
like you can, yep, and
which
we definitely listen to that too because we're always looking for more topics to give you guys information on, do some studying ourselves. So big shout out to Yuri, big shout out to Aaron. Also, I don't know if you saw, but Yuri had a Suited Kings patch on at that final
he
table.
Yep, I
That
saw him.
was pretty
He
sweet.
did have a Suited Kings patch on. So,
I
yeah,
bought I had my sister make those. She's got a printing machine, and
that's awesome.
I made them well over a year ago and never used them, and finally found a spot to use it on. So
Yeah, we have some others I mean, honestly, anyone in the group here who makes a televised final table, I think we should just, like
how about this? I'll one up you. How about this? You just tell me you want one, and I'll bring you one next time we see you at a tournament. I'll just bring you one for
yeah,
free. Absolutely free.
absolutely.
Yeah, I have a handful left, so I wouldn't mind giving those away. But anyways, looking forward to it. And guys, before we get into today's content, please, if you wouldn't mind and enjoy the Suited Kings podcast, go ahead and give us a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening. That helps us in the search engine. Helps, when people search poker, strategy, anything of the sorts, it will bring Suited Kings up to the top of the list, and that will help, help us grow the base. So
Absolutely, and you know what I've heard is the thing that actually affects that a lot is if you follow follow us or subscribe, whatever it's called on the given platform, that helps us a lot too. So just all those like free social media things that don't really seem to matter, they do help us out,
yeah.
bit
Yeah.
by bit.
Oh my God,
So,
Wes, I didn't even say this on the podcast yet, and I'm glad I thought about this before we got into the content. But one more thing that is super exciting, and that is we're finally having a Suited Kings in person live meetup game at Running
oh yeah,
Aces, January 16th and 17th. So if you haven't seen our post yet on Twitter, Running Aces is hosting us in Columbus, Minnesota, January 16th and 17th. We're going to have a $300 tournament that Friday and a $300 tournament that Saturday, as well as timed cash games those nights. So if you're not from Minnesota, you're essentially we're a limit state. So we have these kind of runarounds to be able to play no limit called timed cash games. So it's essentially a tournament, but we play it like a cash game. And then the time's up, you just cash out. So it's
yeah.
essentially a loophole to get around the limit structure of cash games. A great idea.
And yeah, and there is a $150 turbo tournament on the Saturday night. So there's
Yeah.
a 300 both Friday and Saturday, and then there's a 150 the Saturday night as well. Honestly, like with the 10 a.m. start time on Saturday for the tournament, I might just get a room there at Running Aces, and I
It's
think that's the play because it is like a 45-minute drive.
10 a.m. for Wes is like 3 p.m. for
Oh,
me. Oh, wait, did I say that
yeah,
backwards?
opposite. It's like
Yeah.
3
Yeah.
p 10 a.m. for most people is like 3 p.m. for me. Like, we're recording, a little before noon right now. Granted, today I was up a bit before, but this is the first, like, real thing of my day,
Nice, nice. Yep.
so
And I see you got your cup of coffee. I'm about 350 milligrams of
Whew.
caffeine deep, but that's barely
Are you
scratched the
measuring, like,
surface.
100 milligrams per cup?
Um, yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, 90 to 100
Okay.
milligrams per cup.
I'm
So
probably
anyways,
100 deep then.
okay, okay.
So,
I think people don't give a shit about how much caffeine we've consumed today, and probably want
that's
to hear about
probably
delayed sea bedding.
if they can't bet on it
Yeah.
especially, yeah.
Oh, and just to finish up, if you guys want to see the structures, the $300 tournament's gonna have 30-minute levels. Check out our Twitter at Suited Kings Pod. Give us a follow. The pinned tweet will have the structure. It'll have the dates, times, and then just to clarify one thing, this is a meetup game. It's all it is for Zoo Kings. This isn't like we don't plan on this being like something we do regularly. It's gonna be probably like a once a year in-person meetup game. Um,
Yeah, maybe we'll try and do one at Canterbury too,
Yeah, yeah.
but
And this is just a community event to be able to hang out with, our friends and listeners and splash around. So we really do hope that you guys can make it out there January 16th and 17th. Wes, with no more delaying, let's talk about
huh,
delaying.
I see what you did there.
Okay,
Alright.
go ahead.
Yeah, so today we're gonna talk a little bit about delay C betting, and as is true with all of our topics, like, we won't be able to really cover everything, but I had a couple interesting hands in a tournament out in Vegas where I delay C bet, like, twice within maybe an hour or so, and it's what made me think. I think I texted you the topic, like, "We need to talk about this more."
Yep.
Um, and that there are a bunch of spots where you might wanna delay C bet, but, I think it actually might at this point, it might be something that's underutilized because I feel like, if anything, people still, like, over C bet a little, and they'll still overdo it in terms of maybe betting, like, a third pot or, something in that sort of
Let me
vicinity.
let me pause you for a quick moment here. So, as you guys are probably familiar with, the C bet is going to be a continuation bet. It's when you raise pre-flop and then you bet the flop, right? What is a
Mhm.
delayed C bet? Give us a definition.
It's where you tank for a minute. No, I'm kidding. It's where you check the flop, and you see bet either the turn or I guess the river,
Yeah.
but we're gonna talk about the turn here.
And there is a positive strategy behind doing that. I mean, we'll discuss kind of what makes delayed C betting good, what can make it bad, when to use it, when not to use it. I got a bunch of questions prompt to really kind of dig into the brain of our residential professional, Wesley Cannon
Mm.
here. So,
Oh,
um,
I'm ready.
yes, we'll get into that stuff. Before we get into the first few questions, do you have any other thoughts you wanted to let out there?
Nope, that's about it. We can get into like some general times when you might want to delay C bet, and then we'll talk about the specific times I did here as well.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to kind of give us a breakdown, essentially, the big picture discussion of what delayed C betting is and what it kind of
Mhm,
represents. So, what a delayed C bet actually represents, it's not giving up, it's choosing a different street to apply pressure. So, instead of the flop, we're applying pressure to the turn or river. Um,
mhm.
Let me ask you, first question, why are we doing this? Not on the flop, on the turn? Are we protecting ranges? Are we pot controlling? Is it for
Yeah,
deception?
the answer is kind of yes, like, it can
Yeah,
be any of them, right?
yeah.
So, sometimes we are pot controlling. We have a hand where maybe we're deep and we don't wanna get all the whole stack in, but we think it's worth a value bet on at least one street. Sometimes it's a trap, right? Like, if we just flop top set on a dry board, maybe we're just like, we actually would like our opponent to have a chance to catch something on the turn, or or maybe it's a board that doesn't favor us and we're just like checking a ton of our range here, but we happen to have one of the strong hands. On the other hand, it can also be a hand that we actually did give up on the flop, but the turn kind of changes the board, and now we can either value bet or take a stab as a bluff, whatever, depending on
Hmm.
what the card is. And we also have to remember, like, we can be out of position in these spots. Like, this could have been a three bet where from the blinds, or we could have, and actually, as my example hands are, we could have opened as early position and then get called by someone in later position. And we can have a spot where we're checking the flop either as a trap or as like a, sort of, we could be planning to check raise as a bluff. And then if our opponent checks back, we could be barreling on the turn as a bluff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and that's sort of a spot where it's like, okay, a lot of my strong hands I'd wanna check here too.
So
Just
this is exactly why I love the delayed C bet. So like in my mind, oftentimes, and this is I think what I think other people are thinking when I delay C bet is, um, oh, he didn't C bet the flop. He's got showdown value. Oh, he didn't C bet the flop. He's trapping. So when I start to bet the turn, I can more my range is more consisted of value hands rather than bluffs. So and then when you start mixing in bluffs into that, you're going to get them through a little bit more because oftentimes, I mean, when people are just c betting 100%, it's so often just going to be bluffing. And when you check
mhm.
back, it represents strength in a lot of senses.
Yeah, I agree with that a lot. Like, I think a lot of us, if we're honest with ourselves, it's like, oh, especially if we're heads up, it's like, oh, we're gonna see bet the flop if we miss because we want to take it down.
Hmm.
And if we check, it's like we have a hand that is either pretty strong or is strong enough, like maybe medium strength, right? And we're just kind of hoping we don't get check raise bluffed on the turn or whatever it may be, right? Um, if that is true, you actually are maybe a little unbalanced, but like, I think if we're looking at population tendencies, I think that
Especially in these
is
fields.
true.
Yeah, and in
Yeah.
these fields, like, people, we're not playing, high roller, small field tournaments where balance is far more important than it is in these large field, lower tournaments where people just aren't really aware as much, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so if we think about that though, it's like we can take advantage of that with bluffs, as you said. Like, we don't there can be some boards that don't necessarily favor us on the flop, but then we can stab turn with kind of a hand we maybe gave up with on the flop. but we still think we can fold out some better hands on the turn, or you know, the classic spot might be like we check back a board that has 3 small connected-ish cards, and then it's like, a king on the turn, and we have queen jack,
Yeah.
and I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
the flop was 8-7-4 king on the
Yeah.
turn, and
Yeah.
now it's like we stab the turn not to, like, fold out a big hand, but we fold out all their ace high, right? That's
Yep.
kind of the idea.
And sometimes you'll just fold out their bottom, depending on the opponent type. You'll
The
just they'll
bottom pair
yeah.
without a gutter, yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
absolutely.
They'll fold out some of those third and fourth pairs then at that point,
Yeah.
and then it just makes so much more sense that we check back, check back ace king, and then all of a sudden we have complete range advantage on this turn. That's a great board to give an example of.
Yep. Yes, there are a lot of these spots where you actually will give yourself you can represent strength better sometimes by checking back the flop. Now, y obviously, like, if we take that board 8-7-4, if the turn's a deuce, that might not make as much sense. Maybe once in a while, maybe sometimes we check back aces and kings. So, like, I'm not saying we can never bluff, but I think it's much easier to bluff when the king comes, you know?
100%. Yeah, yeah. 100% agree with that. And a good point to bring up. So, okay, so we kind of discussed that the debate here is it for more of pot control or range deception, and like you said, the answer is yes. There's a lot of different positives that come out of it, so I love that. Now let's talk about tournaments versus cash game delayed c betting. I'm gonna assume, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm gonna make an assumption that delayed c bets are much more effective in tournaments than they are in cash games. And I want to make that assumption because I think the stack depth is probably going to be much shallower. Thoughts on that? Do you see why I would think
I
that?
Yeah, I actually don't really think there's a difference.
No? Okay.
Um, I think yeah, I think it's just kind of the
Do
same.
you think
It's
people
all
are
just
floating? Well, let me ask you this. Do you think people are floating flops less in tournaments than they are in cash games because of the depth?
that could be, um,
So I think that might be one reason why, I guess, but is because you're going to get floated more because of how deep you are in cash games than you are in.
but I will say though, I think it doesn't mean hmm,
I got his brain
it
working. That's a
doesn't
good
yeah,
start.
it doesn't mean you're supposed to. I think people have this impression that you're supposed to play looser in cash
Okay.
when it's actually the opposite.
Yeah,
Like,
pre-flop specifically.
yeah, yeah, no, that's a good point. Pre-flop specifically, but just even post-flop, apart from like hard, you know, severe ICM situations, I'm not really.
I learned that in cash game fundamentals, by the way.
You did, nice. Um, yeah, go back and listen to that episode, guys, if you haven't. But,
I'm still a cash game fish. It's okay.
I mean, I got nothing to add to that.
I hate you. So okay, so yeah, so in your opinion, regarding cash games and tournaments, we don't really have much of a difference in delayed c betting. Do you find yourself? Because I know you play cash games for a living. Um,
Mhm.
do you find yourself delayed c betting in cash games equally to tournaments?
Probably. I don't know that I have the best way of looking at those stats because most of the cash I play is not
Yeah,
you can't, like, track your stats.
yeah,
Um, I think there's a point to what you're saying, though. I think, in tournaments, there's a little bit more of this, like because stacks are shorter, you can threaten the stack more, and there even though I say, like, it shouldn't matter, there are times in tournaments where that really matters. Um,
okay,
and so, no, I think that's realistically, that's a good point where it's like, yeah, I can throw out let's even take this board that we had said, the 8-7-4 king, like, I can throw out a delayed c-bet on the turn here for a couple big blinds, and it's gonna work beautifully in the tournament, and in cash, like, 2 big blinds or whatever, people and I say this more from a standpoint of recreational players, like, they'll be just much more willing to flick in a call with any sort of small
yeah,
piece of it. Whereas in tournaments, yeah, like maybe that's not true on level 4 of the tournament, but if we're nearing the bubble or if we're final 2 tables, like, yeah, absolutely, it's gonna work more often. So I think there's something to that where in tournaments so when you check the flop, right, the pot's gonna be a bit smaller.
Yep.
But in a tournament, sometimes if you're 15, 20, 25 bigs effect, like, your stack is still gonna be threatened. Like, a delayed C bet still could represent a decent part of your stack. So I think there's something to that where it probably is a bigger thing in tournaments. Um, even though, like, the situations where the way I'm kind of thinking of it now, I'm not even thinking of, ICM, but I do think there is something to that where, like, let's say and this doesn't have to be the case, especially against good pros, but, like, against the population, I think this will be true where if someone defends from the blinds and they check flop, you check back, and then they check turn too, a lot of times they're gonna be pretty capped.
Yeah. 100, yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And
and
not
so I think
always, but most of the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I
I'm
think,
Sometimes
I
you see
think
these
we
people
can
over trap their hands and just lose all the value.
yeah, it can go either way, right? Like,
Yeah.
you have an additional granted, like, maybe you're kind of capped too, but if they're not going to take advantage of that.
I will say a good time to trap in a spot like this is on that board where it was like 8-4-3 or whatever with the king on the turn. This might be a good spot to start trapping your set or so, to check back again because now they're going to be range betting that king a lot. Where now you can check raise and get the pot bigger.
Yeah, that's a really good point where if the turn card kinda hits your opponent's check back range, this is where and by the way, even if you have, like, a straight draw, maybe you check raise that too, because, if you bet once, it's not like, if I let's say I have yeah, like, we have that board and we have ace high or something. If the opponent just leads out on the king, it's like, this feels weird. Like, why aren't they worried I have a king? It's like, well, they either have a strong hand or it's a bluff and they're
Yeah.
not even thinking about the king.
I don't know
Like,
if you
would
could
they
hear
really
that,
bet?
by the way. So I apologize if you just heard me chugging my drink.
Oh, I don't think they heard it.
Okay, good.
Maybe.
uh, Gulp. Okay, so now let's get into the salmon and wild rice pilaf with a side of sweet potatoes part of this discussion.
All right, Max.
um,
I'm curious which part that is. The main
Board
course?
texture. When delayed C betting? When is delayed C
Mm.
betting printing?
Yeah, that's good. I mean, so first off, it's like I don't even know that you should think about it on the flop. Because it's like they're sort of 2 separate things. It's like the flop has to be one
I
that you're
disagree
going
with
to
that.
check.
Okay, well,
Well,
explain your point. Explain your point, and then maybe
yeah,
that'll
my
help me.
my point is that, like, we sh a flop is a okay, I was gonna say a flop is a flop, and we can tack that up onto the dumbest things I've said on the
Yeah,
podcast, but
yeah,
but no, like, on the flop, you should think about each street as its own thing, right?
right.
Like, we should think about flops that we want to check more on, and then we shouldn't say like, "Hey, regardless of the turn, we're betting." I mean, clearly, if we check back top set or something, yeah, we're planning on getting money in on the turn. But
Yeah,
but let's say we have like a 8-7-6 flop, and we raised, and our opponent called from the big
we're
blind.
probably checking this back a lot.
We're doing a lot of checking, and so the turn bet will be like, let's say we have ace queen, right? This is a hand we're just comfortable checking down if we're not improved. So we'd probably only bet if we turn top pair,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Um, whereas let's say we have king 3 suited, well, we may not even have showdown here. So if a queen, a jack, or an ace comes, maybe we bet big on that turn, right? And we're trying to fold. If an ace comes, we're trying to fold out the small pairs and the other king highs. If a queen or jack comes, we're folding out ace highs and still maybe a small pair. Um, But if the turn pairs the board, then maybe we're just still checking down, like, we're not convinced we can fold out ace high. I will also say, we'll get into this when we review my hands, but surprisingly to some people, I think so if we open, like, early, middle position and we get called by later position, there are a lot of ace high boards we wanna check. Like, we can kinda check or bet them, but I
What you're
think
saying
people's
on the flop
yes, yeah, so,
as
like
okay, is this just because I mean, aces and without aces? Because imagine if we had an ace, it would be pretty much just most of the time a two street hand, anyways.
it probably would be, depending on our kicker. Like, I think ace king can be 3 streets, I think weak ace can be 1 or 2.
Excuse me.
But also just our opponent, like, someone who calls later position, they're actually gonna have a higher percentage of ace X. Like, if you think about what hands are gonna flat a raise from cutoff, let's say, the suited aces and then maybe, like, ace jack, ace 10 offsuit make up a lot of that in terms of percentage. And yeah, so we'll say like ace 6, 7 rainbow, like, we can have a lot of hands that don't really wanna pile money in here, like, all the pocket pairs that didn't make a set, um, king, queen, king, jack, like, even something like if we hit the 7,
And this might be a
uh
great reason to delay c bet.
yeah, and then even if we do have an ace, it's not a vulnerable hand, like, there are no overcards, right? So if we have ace 5 suited, we're not trying to get in what let's say we had 50 blinds, we're not trying to get that in, but, like, if we can just check call flop, um, like, there are a lot of hands, if we do have an ace, where our opponent just has very minimal equity, so we're fine trying to induce with those, and then if we have, like, queens or even if we have a hand we wanna bluff, we can delay that, and so we'll talk more about that when we get into my first hand, but it also just my point is, like, it depends on the positions too, and it depends on how many people are in the pot. Um, I think I think in multi-way pots, one of the biggest things I see, probably from, not, like, specifically our listeners, but a lot of people in the tournaments that include our listeners, is people I think we too frequently see bet a flop that's, like, 4 or 5 ways as if it was heads up.
Oh
Um
man, yeah, I've definitely in the last year have really dialed back on my for lack of a better word intensity or frequency in
Frequent, yeah.
yeah, frequency in terms of putting chips in multi-way pots as a bluff.
Mhm.
You can't catch. I mean, that's we've discussed that actually, and you're probably burning money in multi-way pots or however that title
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. As a side note, the episodes that are titled "You're Probably Torching Money,"
Yeah.
those seem to do pretty well. So,
Because
I
people
don't
don't
know.
want to, because torching money is a terrible thing.
It's
You
a
know what I
bad
mean?
idea,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I don't want to torch money. I better listen to this. I love it.
Yeah.
Clickbait.
Um, anyways, yeah, so it really depends on a lot of factors. It
Okay.
depends on apart from the board, like, the board depends, like, on the positions, but then the frequency of checking a flop also depends on how many players are in the pot too.
Okay. Let's go back to heads up pots.
Mhm.
Uh, do we have, do you give me your thoughts on board? So you said flop doesn't, how did you word it? It's essentially that like you're not thinking about it during the flop, right? Is that how you
Yeah,
word it?
yeah, or you should at least view them each as their own decision, right? Because, like,
Yeah.
and some of them, I guess you can view it as, okay, this is a flop or I have a hand where I'm planning to bet the turn, and then some of them where you're planning on just checking down the whole way, and then the turn makes you
Okay.
decide to bet,
Well, let
right?
me I agree with that. Yes. So yes, now yes, I agree with your sentiment there. Now, tell me your thoughts on checking back these kind of boards, if we should or should not find these kind of boards as places to check back and delayed c bet on, potentially delayed c bet on based on what the turn comes. But
Mhm.
so for example, high card dry boards versus like low card connected boards. Obviously, the low connected boards, we're going to, as you'd already kind of brought that up, the 6, 7, 8
Mhm.
flop. We'll probably be checking a lot of those. And then delayed c betting when it comes up, as you said, if we have king high on any queen jack ace or it's et cetera, et cetera. But what about the high card dry boards? The ace, I guess we discussed that as well. So we'll say ace, eight, deuce. Um, I would check those
Yeah,
as, yeah. So both of those are can make for great delayed c bets boards,
I
right?
will say though, when if we're in position, the dry ace high boards, we're gonna mostly just bet,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think. And I
yeah.
think not even the ace high, but the high card, like, let's say a king jack 4 rainbow, like, a lot of those high card boards,
Mhm.
we're going to be betting we're gonna just wanna see bet a lot
Well,
of the
value
time.
and as a bluff because first off, we're just gonna be getting all the nothings to fold and winning the pot there,
Yeah.
which is infinite valuable, right? So that
Mhm.
is the main reason why we do it. But then also when um our we can continue the story of the strength of our hand by betting the turn as well to start getting those
Yep.
second and third pairs to fold.
Yep.
Okay. Next board, pair boards, like mid pair boards. Let's say queen eight, queen eight eight.
Yeah, I think in general, paired boards, when we're in position against the blind, like, we're going to just see bet small on a ton of these
Yeah.
because I guess here's a good way to
It
think about
scares
it,
me though because good players love to find check raises on these boards.
and then we love to find calls with
Yeah,
a
if the
lot of decent stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and, that's a man, we should do a paired board episode too,
Yeah, there
like,
we go. Nailed
we I
it.
because I could go down a tangent there. I
Mhm.
think that would be good, but I think, paired boards for the most part, we're gonna see bet a lot because think of it this way, there's
And
5
typically
cards.
small.
Yeah, for sure. Like, there's 5 cards that they can have that hit the board on a pair, like queen 8-8, there are 3 queens and there are 2 eights. If it's queen 8-3, suddenly there are 3 queens, eights, and 3, so now there's 9 cards they can hit. So on a paired board, they're so much less likely to actually have improved,
Okay,
and so
okay.
they have so many more auto folds on paired boards.
I I I like it. Okay. Um, and then lastly, monotone flops. So,
Mhm.
all spade flops, all hard flops, something like that. One suit boards.
Yeah.
Checking, betting small, both. What are your thoughts here? Is this a
I
spot where
think
we like
both.
to check and find a
I
delayed
think
bet?
both, yeah, and I'll admit, I actually don't know in theory, what it does change things, and so I think there's some good reasons for both. Like, let's say it's like an ace high monotone board. Let's say ace king 3 all hearts. I think I'm much more likely to check back something like a king here,
Yeah. Yeah. Just
because I'm
trying
gonna
to
have to
not pot
fold the
control,
check
get the
raise.
showdown. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Um, and even maybe like even an ace 2 where it's just, like, less vulnerable. Maybe, like, there at some stack depths, there's, like, logic. Let's say we have ace 7 with the flush draw, like, the 7 of the suit. We can check that back because it's like, okay, we're not if we bet, like, we're not trying to pile all the chips in here, but we have a very comfortable hand to call kind of no matter the run out. And if they check the turn, we can value bet there as well. Um, or if we have something like queens, it's like we're not looking to. I guess queens is different because we're probably just checking that down
I
the
think,
whole way.
yeah, so give me your thoughts on this, but I think that a good way to put delayed c betting is that how would I word this? C bets delayed C bets work best when my perceived range or how people view my range will stay strong after checking.
Yeah, yes, that's like agreed. Or if the turn hits our check back
Or
range.
or if then the
Yep.
turn starts smeshing our check back range. Yes. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I like
Yeah.
it.
I like that.
Okay. Um, let's see what else do we got here. Uh, range versus hand-based thinking.
Mhm.
Um, checking strong hands intentionally, like top pairs and sets, like we've discussed. Um, avoiding. Let's see here. My notes here are all messed up here, so let's just
It's
move
all
on from
good.
that one. I'm so good
Okay.
at this. I don't know where I was going with that one, so we're just gonna skip past that one. Um, okay, even better. So another good topic we should discuss here is um, sizings.
Mhm.
Um, when we delay C bets, how should we think about sizing our turn C bets?
That's a good question, and there's not a one size fits all
Well,
here.
let's go back to the 8-4-3 king turn board.
Mhm.
Um, are we gonna be
Is it
size
I think originally it was 8-7-4 because I
okay.
wanted there to be a straight on there.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
8-7-4, perfect. I feel like, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong here, but my if I'm c betting the turn here, I feel like I'm just going to be if say the king smashes the turn, I'm gonna be sizing up this delayed c bet.
I think I am too.
And the reason being is number one, to start building a pot with my value hands, but also to start applying pressure to those second and third pairs, third and fourth pairs. Thoughts?
I agree, yeah, because in that case, what we're targeting is not a super strong range, but maybe a range of
That wants to
hands that at
deny
least have
equity
some
as well.
showdown
Yeah,
value.
yeah, and want
Yeah.
to deny some equity. And let's be clear, I'm not just saying if I smash the king and have the king in my actual hand, but whether I'm
Yes.
say I have queen jack like you had used as an example earlier. This might be a great hand to turn into a bluff here and start sizing up as well.
I agree, and I think that's in general, I would say we size up with the delayed C bets. Um, because yeah, we're not targeting in this case, like we're not targeting their nothing hands. If we have like queen jack on the 8-7-4 king board. We're not we're not just trying to fold out like 10 high or something, right? So I would agree with that. I tend to size up and then there are probably some spots where we can size it down, but
Okay.
I think in general, it's going to be better if we size up with the delayed C bets. Also, like we're trying to maybe this isn't the right way to think about it, but with our value, we're trying to make up for a street of value
Yeah, and that's
in
another
this.
thing too, especially if we're
Yeah.
trapping, right? Like
Mhm.
with our if we're thinking about our actual hand in terms of trapping. Well, I think we went over a ton of great concepts as to what delayed seed betting is, why it's good, when to use it, things like that. You want to get into a couple of your hands?
Yeah, let's do it. Um, so the first hand here, I had in both spots, the stack depth isn't going to be super important, but we'll just say it. We're about 50 blinds effective. The big blind was 800 for this first one. I have 9-8 of spades.
Is this in Vegas?
This is in Vegas.
Okay, that's right.
This is in Vegas, yeah. And these were both on the same bullet of the prime, which I didn't end up bagging, but that had nothing to do with these hands. So
Okay, okay.
we open 9-8 of spades under the gun +1 to 1800
At
at
800.
800 big blind.
How deep are you?
40, 50 blinds,
Okay,
something around there.
nice stack. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And the guy in the cutoff calls and everyone else folds, so the pot is 5,600.
And you're in early position. You said under gun one or something.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. The flop comes ace 6-7 rainbow.
Mm, okay,
I believe
okay.
no spades.
I like this, and I already see why you're checking here. It's because, well, let me ask you. Let's talk. This is a great thing to discuss. So, you have someone in later position. that has
Yep.
position on you right now called your early position opens pre-flop. Let's talk about how that differentiates from just big blind calling you.
Yes.
So I'm assuming that you might take the check route against this specific scenario versus actually just c betting the flop against a big blind defend here.
Mhm.
Why is that?
So on this flop, when the cutoff calls, kind of like as I alluded to earlier, he's gonna have a lot more ace X as a percentage of his range
Yep. Yep.
than like the big blind.
Hmm.
He will have some pocket pairs that won't fold to one bet. And then he'll certainly have like the king queen, some suited connector, Broadway, but he'll have a lot of stuff that at least can call this bet. So, not that betting is a terrible idea, but I'll also have some like ace 10, ace jack that I check and try and induce here.
Yeah.
This is a board I'm actually planning to check raise if he bets.
What is the full board again?
Ace 6, 7 rainbow.
A6, 7. You're planning
I'm
on
open ended.
okay, you got to yeah, open ended to the nuts. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. That doesn't ring like gutter to the nutter does, but
No, but it's a stronger
it
hand.
is. I would prefer to have that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. So I like it. You're check raising here because I mean can just easily have all of the sets, etc. Also, I mean, does this protect your checking range by check raising here?
totally. So I can play ace queen this way. I can play 7-6 suited, ace 7 suited, sixes, sevens, the strong stuff that I'm
Yeah.
looking to get a lot of value
Yeah. I
from.
guess top set, you're probably not even check raise just because you have all of it, right? You're just gonna flat there and keep his bluffs in.
I would agree, yeah.
Okay.
And this has the dual benefit of getting a lot more chips in when I have a strong hand, but also here, and then I didn't mention this. This guy is maybe a little splashy, recreational player. So my thought is for one thing, he might have a little wider range pre-flop, but I also had the impression if he senses weakness, he might just stab.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, even if he has king jack or something, he might just stab because he's like, you don't have an ace. I'm going to get you off,
Well, I'm
whatever.
gonna assume by the title of this episode, he does not stab.
He doesn't. So he checks back. And so obviously, at this point, we do just have 9 high. So we
Yeah.
have to put in a bluff.
Yeah.
The turn is the queen of clubs. It's the second club. Obviously, doesn't improve us. But at this point, it's like, okay, he might have a hand he's just checking down, which this is something people maybe don't consider too. I hear people talk about betting for information sometimes,
Yeah.
but you don't like you can still get information when you check. And I think we've kind of gotten the information here that
He's
he
capped.
doesn't have an ace.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he is capped too now, right? And
Yeah.
so the pot is 5,600. I still want to get some real fold equity, right? And if I had, let's say, ace jack here, I would want to get some real value. So I'm going to bet, like you had alluded to earlier, I'm going to bet on the larger side.
You said there was 6,700 in the pot?
56.
56. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm
You into that 6-7
six,
me? Oh
seven.
my
No,
god.
dude, I hate that. Let's move on. Okay. Don't even say it
Yep,
again.
yep. So I bet 4,200. I bet 3/4 pot.
Okay.
And he thinks for a while and then kind of just shakes his head and folds.
Got him.
So we
Got
got
him.
him, and I think we probably got him off of maybe a weak pair of some sort.
I think this really exemplifies all of the concepts that we discussed earlier. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I think that's a great one to discuss. And I mean, even if he didn't have a lower pair, you could have got him off Jack 10. And he
Yeah,
just folds the gutter. You know what I mean? With two
yeah,
overs. Um,
absolutely.
so yeah, that's a great hand. I mean, the truth here is that c betting could have worked.
Mhm.
It's not that it wouldn't have worked, but yeah, I think that especially because you planned on check raising the flop here. What are your final thoughts on that hand?
Yeah, I agree.
Why do you think this is better as a delayed c bet versus a c bet? I guess is the proposed question.
Well, I think in part we get some information on the flop
The
when he
information from
checks
him.
back.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, By the way, I don't think this is a terrible C bet. I think this is a fine hand to C bet too, because
Yeah.
we do get a decent amount of folds. We get some folds on the flop, plus we just have equity
If you weren't
when we're
open ended
calling.
or even had a draw, say you had Jack 10 suited. What was the board? It was ace eight, ace
Ace 7,
six,
6.
ace 7 6. So say you had Jack 10 suited. Don't give me that fucking smirk.
Oh, no, it wasn't even about you. It was like, I was hoping you
Okay.
it was if you
Yeah.
had said ace 6, 7, then we would
Oh,
have
here we
gone.
go. Here we go.
I
Um,
I hate that. I don't even wanna bring it up, but
you
that's
still
why I
are.
was
You still
smirking.
are. But say we have Jack 10 suited here. This is a hand we're more likely to see bet then? Or no?
This is one where we might just check and give, like, we could do either on the flop, but if we're checking, we're a little bit less it's less, it's just a worse hand on this board, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
whether we check or bet, it's just worse than having 9-8 suited.
It's so funny.
And we can't do either, I
We
think.
have these topics that we discuss, but then I always think of these questions that just kind of fit into other concepts that I want to ask about during the same episode just as someone who's
Yeah,
curious about strategy. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So don't be surprised if you get some questions that aren't delayed c betting
Totally. Well, and
inquiries.
I'll say, so last night I threw this hand and my other hand into the old solver tool, and like the flop strategy is like we mainly want to, basically our whole range is like we can mostly check and bet at a small frequency. So it's like it's not even saying we have to, but if you're always just barreling everything when the ace flops, if you're just 100% c betting, you're probably
Torching money.
yeah, you're probably overdoing it a bit.
I like
Um,
that. I like that.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. You have another hand.
Yep. So ironically, this one, not only are we under the gun +1 again, but we also have 9-8 suited again. We have 9-8 of hearts this time. And
Just pretty. I don't know why the heart suit just gets me. I know it's not
I know.
the best suit, but anything suited connected with the heart just give it to me hard. I'm just gonna
That's
blast.
great.
I'm blasting with it.
But
Uh,
maybe sometimes you delay
delay
until the
blast with it.
turn, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So this time, it's the next blind level, 1K. We opened at 2,200. The player on our left, who is a recreational type player, I think, flats,
You're in
and
what
then
position? Sorry.
under the gun +1,
Okay, so he's early as well. Okay.
and then the big blind comes along too. So the pot is 8,100, um, with the ante.
And you had 6, 7? I'm just kidding.
Okay. Um, so the board comes out Jack 10 5 with the 10 of hearts. So we flop open-ended backdoor hearts. And similar to last time, if we were just up against the big blind, I would totally just barrel this here because we have equity. They can have not literally any two, but they can have a ton of folds. In this spot, though, we have a third player and it's an early position caller.
Mhm.
So that's a little like the Jack 10 board. They can have either one of those cards. They can have some suited varieties of those cards. They can have the king, queen, ace, queen type stuff. We
Mhm.
sort of block some hands we would want them to have, like pocket eights and nines
Mhm. Oh,
that
that's
they
a good
could
point.
fold.
Yeah, the hands you want to start applying pressure to with a C bet.
Yep. And so for that reason, I decide to just check.
Again, in multi-way, it makes more sense here.
Yeah. And if the player on our left had decided to bet, I would have just called
You said you
and
had a
tried to.
backdoor flush draw here too. Did I hear that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but it checks around. And so this is good again for
We got
information.
information. Yeah. Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
bet
So
where
the
you
player on our left
I like
probably
it.
almost certainly like doesn't have a jack and probably doesn't have a 10 either. Like they might be capped at maybe a 10-9 suited, but it could be like sevens, eights, ace high type stuff.
And we
Lot of
find
stuff.
that people who have strong hands on boards like this, specifically in multi-way pots, will start betting right away because they're afraid of getting run out on.
Yeah, one, for value, like I think they probably not wrongfully so, right? Like I think it'd be mostly a good idea to do that.
No, I agree. Yeah. Equity
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
And Yeah, and just value from, like, my ace queen, my even a hand like I have. So anyways, it checks around in the turn. It's actually a nice one. It's the jack of hearts. So we have a open-ended straight flush draw now.
But still just 9 high.
Still just 9 high. However, when the big blind checks here, we are big
This
blind
is
could still be doing a
interesting.
little trapping, but big
Well,
blind still has a very wide range,
it's
right?
also still interesting because our opponents can still have a 10, which they're not folding and they could check the flop with.
Yeah, potentially. Um, but the big blind can have a lot of stuff here.
There's
And
a
then the
lot, yeah.
player on our left,
Well, I
I
mean, he
think
could
we
just have
can,
under pairs, etc., like that aren't
yeah, he
sets.
could have some ace highs. And at this point, it's like we have equity, we have 9 high.
How much is in the
It's
pot?
8,100.
And so I guess this is where one of my questions comes in for you is because there's a third player in this pot, do we size up even more or do we not size up as much?
I guess I don't know the technical answer. What I did was very similar. I went 5,800, so I
Okay.
went
Just
between
kept
two
it the
thirds
same.
and three quarters,
Right.
close to three
Are you
quarters
still
spot.
relatively the same depth of 50, 40-ish big, something like that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
And I mean, you got an
and I
open-ended
wanted
straight flush draw. You're not afraid to put some chips in the middle here.
right, yeah, we have a very strong draw here, and so and we're pretty sure that the player on our left doesn't have a strong hand, but could still, there can still be some tens, and like I think what we would want to do is not just bet a size that folds out like the ace highs, but maybe even if the big blind has the bottom pair, like a five or if the player on our left has like pocket sevens, sixes, eights, like
Fours.
we're targeting that stuff
Yeah.
too. So they both fold
Oh,
and it's
wow.
just too easy.
Man, that's awesome. You're gonna eat those words one day, but yeah. we, poker is it's funny. Poker can just feel so easy, and then sometimes it can just feel so hard. It's
I
crazy.
mean, let's remember I didn't bag this like
Oh, yeah.
it wasn't that
So
easy.
sorry. You already ate those words. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Those are great examples. Multi-way and non-multi-way. And I think that the logic, as long as you're having logic as to why you're doing it, that's what's going to make it make sense, right?
Mhm.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on delayed C betting before we start wrapping up here?
Man, we like any study topic, we could talk forever about it. Um
Okay. How about this?
to our listeners, what I would say is there are probably a lot of you that see bet too frequently, especially out of position or in multi-way pots. Um, and maybe challenge yourself to look for some spots where it makes sense not to do that. And I think sometimes people have this fear of like, oh, no matter what hand they have, it's like the worst feeling is like, oh, I checked and then they got there with a hand that they would have folded on the flop. And of course, that will sometimes happen, but don't live in fear of that. And, recognize the spots where that's not as big of a concern. Like,
Okay.
y- let's, the 8 9, well, they're both 8 9 suited hands. What am I talking about? But the first one, it's like, okay, yeah, maybe we're worried that king queen is going to turn a queen and then suddenly not fold when they would have folded flop. But also,
Hmm.
like, we we can get more value from some stuff by checking flop. Like we could check raise and get a fold from a hand that would have just folded anyways, get more chips that way. Um, we can do this when we do this with an ace, it's a good thing that he hits a queen, right? So we need to have some hands on both sides of the spectrum. And then
Yeah.
on boards where they just have a lot of auto folds that you want to fold, don't check those. Like we'll take queen 3 3 and we have king 10. Like you don't check that board back because like
there's so
We
many
want them to just fold
hands
out
that
eight,
aren't connected
seven,
with
right?
that board that will fold versus the combinations of hands that will actually have connected with that. So we can just get all this to fold and take the pot there. Yeah, 100%.
Exactly. Whereas, like, when it's the 8-7-6 flop, the reason we check back that flop is because they have a lot of hands that just aren't gonna fold to that C bet, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, I'd say, guys, just challenge yourselves to do a little bit more
Mix up when you
flop
see bet.
checking, and
Yeah.
then you can still bet the turn.
Yeah, and sometimes you can bring that delay all the way to the river too, so don't forget that.
Yep.
You actually had helped me kind of bring back a memory. I want to say it was probably 2011 or 12, right when I kind of started playing live for the first time.
Yep.
And you started that
I was
last kind of
literally in high school then.
you
Yeah.
started you started that last bit with like don't always see bet 100%, right?
Mhm.
And this is in a time when I didn't even know. So I'll explain. So it was a $500 tournament. I want to say it was at Running Aces, if I remember correctly. And
Oh
this guy
my,
must have been,
500 bucks.
I know, and it was a pile of cash for me at that time. It was probably like half my paycheck. I don't know, but I'm not even joking. But
Oh, I know.
and anyways, so I opened the pot. I see bet. I don't remember the details specifically, but I see bet, and this guy check raised me, and then windmill. I folded, and he windmilled a bluff, and he goes, "This is where I print money is from kids c betting 100%." And I'm like, "What is a c bet?"
Oh, you told me that.
I didn't even know what a c bet was. Oh man, where we've come from. It's so good. But I thought I told you that story before. I'll never forget
I
that.
just remembered that phrase. Yeah, you told me that a long time ago.
I'll never forget that. That stuck with me forever. But that guy, like, he's like, I just check raise c bets because people do it too frequently. Whether it was a bluff, you know what I mean? And
Well, and
and then he
yeah,
called me out just right to my face. He's like, "This is where I print," and I'm like,
yeah,
"I don't know what c bet means."
yeah. That is so funny, and that's what we should be doing, right? Is like whether he was winning or not, the way we can print money is by like identifying something people are off on and then countering, finding
Yeah,
a way to counter it. So he
exploiting, right?
probably did like he was onto something for sure
Yeah,
back
and that was a
then.
long I mean, that was damn, how long ago was that? That was 10, 15, shoot, 13 plus years ago. So,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I thought this was a really fun conversation. I think we really got into the cheese and crackers of it. I don't know.
Jesus.
That one might not stick, but guys, if you enjoyed this episode again, we'd appreciate it if you left us a nice juicy review on whatever platform you're listening to this on. That helps us immensely. So please and thank you so much for that. Also, big shout out to Tilted Compass, good friends of ours. I know you see their hoodies and their backpacks everywhere. If you guys aren't familiar with them, make sure to check the show notes wherever you're listening to this. We have a link where we actually have Suited Kings collab merch with Tilted Compass. Whether it's the collab merch with our logo on it or just their merch in general, make sure to check them out, support them. They're an independent local, well, not local to us, but Midwest local company, and they make incredible, very warm, very comfortable gear. So make sure to check them out. Our Patreon content, you hear us talk about it every single episode, guys. A great way to improve your game at a fraction of the price of training content. And we will make content tailored to you. We have a Discord channel where you can make recommendations. We do hands of the week. There's also multiple different tiers. So whatever your financial situation is, we have a package for you. Yeah, make sure to check all those out. Again, link to that in the show notes. Our Discord, get in there. Man, the sweats for the WPT Prime with Aaron and Yuri, it was fun. Everybody was in there talking about the hands. The WPT 10K, people were bringing up hands. Wes and I really had a disagreement and almost broke up over a discussion there. We have therapy this evening, so we'll work that out. Uh, and
The funny thing is we actually kind of agreed on a couple parts of the hand though.
yeah, we did. I mean, we did. I just want this all to somehow lead to you and me beef into where we play heads up and make it a
Yeah,
spectacle.
we should.
I mean, Jake Paul made millions from getting his ass beat. Can't we somehow do that?
I think so. I think we
Uh,
can.
I don't know. I don't know, but if we can, that'd be awesome. And then yeah, I think I pretty much nailed it. And actually, you know what? Let's just do one more plug. If you guys want to, find the home of your the home of your dreams, man, how would you trust me as a realtor if I can't even speak? But guys, I am a real estate
Most of them
agent
can't.
in the state of Minnesota, and I would love to help you either sell or purchase a new home in 2026. My team has over 40 years of combined experience. I've been personally doing it for well over a decade now. Yeah, I love what I do. I'm passionate about it. I work hard, and I will make sure that you get the deal you deserve. So hit me up if you're interested in purchasing some real estate. And Wes, any other plugs I'm missing here?
These clubs poker.
Oh, Clubs Poker, our meetup game. Duh. Jeez. Yeah, guys. Next Tuesday, the Wes
30th.
30th. Thank you, sir. We're gonna have our Clubs Poker meetup game every other Tuesday. So make sure to check that out. It's a 55 buy-in. Lots of windmilling, lots of slow rolling, just a good time overall. So
It's a
don't
great
sweat
time.
it. We're here for a good time. So
Yeah. Sign up through our link to support the pod. Also,
yeah.
guys, it's been a while. I think I'm gonna start streaming again after
I
Christmas,
was
maybe
waiting
after
for
New Year's,
this.
but
I was waiting for this moment.
yeah, it's been a while. Honestly, I've been on a roll in live tournaments, but I haven't streamed in a couple months. And realistically, I'm not gonna get the challenge done. I've taken 2 breaks of over 2 months from streaming. So, in terms of
Hey, it's
hours
not
put
over
in,
yet. Don't count
that is
yourself out
true. It's
yet.
not over yet.
It's not impossible. So let's do it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Um, but the Poker Cannon on Twitch, that's where you can find me. Give me a follow. Make tons of accounts and follow me with all of them. That
Yeah,
actually would
support him.
just be awesome. And watch the stream from all of them at once.
Oh, yes, yes. Make sure to check Wes's Twitch stream out. I can't
Right.
wait. Looking forward to that. And I think that's everything we got, guys. Again, just want to say happy holidays, happy new year. We will have a new episode before the new year starts, but yeah, all of the above. I hope it's safe. I hope it's happy. I hope you guys, are able to, in the stressful season, just take a load off and enjoy it. You know what I mean? So good luck and on the felt. Wes, quit with that stupid smirk. I'm having a heartfelt moment with our audience, okay?
Yeah. I would have had a comment to throw in there, but that would only be for the page. There's a
Oh,
certain
here we go.
vulnerability we have with our Patreon members.
It is, yeah, I 100% agree. So yeah, make sure to check out the Patreon for more information. And we'll see you guys next week prior to the new year.